So with 2025 rounding down and 2026 about to get underway, it is time to look forward at the new slate of movies we have to look forward to in 2026. Yes, this is one of my favorite videos I get to make every year where I count down my most anticipated films of next year. And next year is looking to be one of the better years for film we've had in a while. Although 2025 has been pretty incredible, next year there are so many gigantic directors releasing big massive films with big massive stars, and I am unbelievably excited. So I have 22 movies to talk about on this list. There are going to be some notable movies missing from here. So if you're like, are you not excited for those? No, probably not. I'm also probably going to miss a ton of stuff. There are always movies that come up and just kind of sneak up on you and catch you by surprise. Movies you didn't even know were coming out that end up being some of the best movies of the year. So of course, those movies I am also excited to see, whatever they are. These are just the movies that I was able to come together with, and I'm sure by the time I rewatch this video, I'm going to be like, oh my god, I missed that one movie that I am absurdly excited for. What is wrong with me? I am stupid. So let's get into it. Yet again, I got 22, and these are in order, kind of. And number 22 is Spider-Man Brand New World. Yeah, a little bit low, I think, from what most people would think. I'm excited for a new Spider-Man movie. I've enjoyed all of the new Tom Holland movies. I enjoyed No Way Home, and it's been quite some time since that No Way Home cliffhanger, and I'm excited to see Spider-Man and Punisher and all of these characters on screen. Obviously, Sadie Sink is going to be in this one. There's been a lot of leaks, and I think I'm just not as excited for this as some of these other films, mainly because I'm just kind of tired of the whole superhero genre at the moment. But I will be seated for another Spider-Man movie, and I think this one will probably end up being pretty good. And 21 is Scream 7. This is an interesting one. We've gotten a teaser for it. It's the third new Scream movie in like this modern new Scream trilogy that we've gotten, but it's a little bit different because it's not exactly a sequel to Scream 6 because of a whole bunch of controversies that happened with the lead actresses of that movie. This is going to be a sequel essentially to the earlier Scream movies, bringing back Neve Campbell as the lead, of course, as Sidney Prescott, and telling sort of a story for hardcore Scream fans. I really dug the trailer for this one, and I honestly love these Scream movies, especially these newer ones, so I'm excited to see what they have cooking. Number 20 is 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Now, this is one that I really was not looking that forward to. I enjoyed 28 Years Later. I'm a big fan of 28 Days Later. I think it's one of the best zombie movies ever. I think you could see so many apocalyptic movies taking from that original Danny Boyle film. I just did not love 28 Years Later as much as I thought I was going to, and a sequel that's being followed up so quickly, directed by a different director. I just did not feel like this is one that was going to be on my list. But seeing the early reactions from people that have seen this movie, it's gotten me a little bit more excited. It's one that's coming up very soon, releasing in January, and people have been freaking out about those early screenings, so I'm a little bit more intrigued. I'm a little bit more interested to see what they could do with this story in this world building off of that last movie. And number 19 is Michael. Yeah, the Michael Jackson biopic. I am very intrigued by this movie for a bunch of different reasons that I will not talk about on YouTube at the fear of being demonetized. But obviously, I'm just excited about sort of the discourse that's going to be surrounding this film, and I think at the very least, we're going to get a very entertaining, fun, musical biopic that is probably not as honest as it should be. I really dug the trailer for this, and I'm excited to see what Michael's going to be cooking. Number 18 is Wuthering Heights. Yeah, I'm very excited for this one, and this one is going to make a ton of money. I could just feel it. Another film that I'm sure is going to have an absurd amount of discourse around it. This is the brand new film from Emerald Fennell, one of my favorite directors working. I mean, Promising Young Woman is incredible, and I really love Saltburn, and with Wuthering Heights, she seems to be really leaning into that sort of absurd, over-the-top, hot and weird sexual shit that she does in her films, and yeah, it's an adaptation of a classic story that's going to be probably very loosely adapting that story, starring Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, and they just look amazing and incredible. The trailers for this have been super great. I'm very excited for this one. And number 17 is The Drama. We also got a trailer for this one just recently. This is going to be starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, and it's directed by the same guy that brought us Dream Scenario from a couple years ago with Nick Cage, a movie that I really loved and I think went a little bit under the radar. This one seems to be just a story about a couple in a relationship, having relationship issues. I'm sure there's going to be more to it, but you tell me Robert Pattinson and Zendaya with this director, I'm sold. And number 16 is The Bride. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal's brand new movie about the Bride of Frankenstein, starring Jessie Buckley. And I am way more excited for this movie than I was going to be going into the year because I just saw Hamnet and saw Jessie Buckley's unbelievable performance in that, which is probably going to net her an Oscar. And I'm so excited to see her next big project, which is The Bride. Maggie Gyllenhaal as a director is an interesting idea. I have not seen any of her other work. The trailer for this looks really over the top and stylistic and very different from anything that I was really expecting. You have Christian Bale playing Frankenstein, you have Jake Gyllenhaal here. This all just kind of looks like a wild, weird ride that could end up being really special and one of those big early hits for the year, or something that might end up just being kind of a fart. We'll see. And number 15 is Project Hail Mary. This one is solely based off my love of the book. I love Project Hail Mary. I think it is one of the best books that I read in the last couple years. This does have all of the makings to be something great. It's coming from the same dudes that, of course, are responsible for these Spider-Verse movies. You also have Ryan Gosling as the lead here. You have Sandra Hüller, one of my favorite, most underrated actresses working. She is in this. This could be just an epic, beautiful, amazing, good time at the theater. I hope they do it well. The last time an Andy Weir novel was adapted, it was, of course, The Martian, a movie that I love, and I think Project Hail Mary is an even better book than The Martian, so I'm super excited to see what they do here. Number 14 is the new Last Airbender movie. Yeah, this one is kind of coming out of nowhere. Yeah, the guys that made The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra are coming in with a brand new Avatar: The Last Airbender movie about Aang and him as an adult, and this has been on my radar for kind of a while. I'm not gonna lie, I am the biggest Last Airbender fan you're ever gonna meet, and the fact that this movie has been years in the making and is finally coming out, I am so excited. I hope it's good. I don't know what it's gonna be about. I don't know what's gonna happen in it. I don't know anything about this. I just know it's gonna be great. It's more Last Airbender. I have been begging for this for years, and we're getting it. Yes. And number 13 is the continuing adventures of Cliff Booth. One of two very weird sequels that we're getting this year. I have ranked them back to back on this list, so stay tuned for the other one. But this is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2, which is going to be written by Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino wrote this film, but he's not directing it. No, David Fincher will be directing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2, aka the continuing adventures of Cliff Booth. This is Quentin Tarantino writing, David Fincher directing. Wow, that is weird. But of course, I'm going to be excited for it. Do we need a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel? No. But Quentin Tarantino is still, to this day, one of the best writers on planet Earth, and David Fincher is a top 5 working director. So this could end up being something really special, or just kind of another movie on Netflix, which is kind of what I feel like it's going to end up being. I haven't heard a lot about this. And number 12 is The Social Reckoning, the other weird sequel that David Fincher's not involved in for some reason. Yeah, this is the sequel to The Social Network that's not going to be starring Jesse Eisenberg or any of the actors from The Social Network, so it's essentially just a new movie about Mark Zuckerberg. The good news about this movie is it was written by Aaron Sorokin, who famously wrote the script for The Social Network. The bad news is, it is going to be directed by Aaron Sorokin, who is known for directing really not so great movies. Sorokin, as great of a writer as he is, has just not brought that same flair to his directing style as of yet. So I'm a little bit afraid for this one. I think the idea of Jeremy Strong playing a new version of Mark Zuckerberg is exciting. I think telling the story about Facebook in the 2020s, bringing Instagram into the conversation could make for an interesting movie. I've been very excited over the idea of a Social Network 2 for years as it's been in development, but the moment that I heard Jesse Eisenberg would not be involved and David Fincher would not be involved, a lot of my excitement just kind of drained. So me putting it this high on this list is not because I am genuinely so anticipating this film. It's more of my intrigue of what this is actually going to look like. And number 11 is Clayface. Yeah, I mean, God, I can't believe I'm this excited for this movie. Clayface is a brand new DC movie about, obviously, the character of Clayface. You don't know what Clayface is? He's this big goo monster that can essentially shapeshift and become other people. Normally, I would not be excited about a brand new superhero film like this, but there's a lot of really interesting people attached to this film that's making me extremely intrigued. It's directed by James Watkins, the same guy that recently directed the American version of Speak No Evil, See No Evil, whatever the hell that movie was called. I love that movie. I thought it was incredible. But more importantly, the screenplay was written by Mike Flanagan, who is one of my favorite people alive. I mean, everything Mike Flanagan touches is gold, and this story is an original idea, an original screenplay, a horror screenplay from Mike Flanagan. So it's a director that I really like, it is a writer that I absolutely love, and it's an idea that I think could be interesting if this ends up being a real character study of Clayface, similar to 2019's Joker, something that allows it to be its own thing and stand on its own. It's going to be the first real test of James Gunn's DC philosophy where, no, we're not just trying to make a big connected universe like Marvel, we're just trying to make great movies that happen to take place in the same universe. We'll see. And number 10 is Hunger Games, The Sunrise on the Reaping. And yeah, I love the Hunger Games movies. And we got a trailer for this one, and it looks wild. I really enjoyed the book for this. It happens to be one of, if not the strongest book in the series. It's dark, it's brutal, it reads like a Greek tragedy. It's, of course, a story about Haymitch and his games, the Second Quarter Quell. This movie has a ridiculous cast, with Ralph Fiennes playing President Snow. You have Kieran Culkin coming in, you have Glenn Close, you have just so many incredible people that are going to be involved in this movie, and I'm very, very excited to just get another Hunger Games film that's going to be big and epic and just awesome. I'm really looking forward to this one. And And number 9 is Wild Horse 9, coincidentally, the brand new film from Martin McDonagh. I don't know anything about this film. I don't know who's in it. I don't know what it's about. What I do know is it's a brand new film from Martin McDonagh, who is one of my favorite writer-directors working. His last film, The Banshees of Inisherin, was one of my favorite movies of that year. Of course, it's the same guy that made In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, I mean, 3 Billboards. This guy is just an incredible director who does not miss. This will be his newest work, and it's obviously one that I will be seated for. I am very excited. It could end up being one of my favorite films of the year. And number 8 is Avengers Doomsday, which might be a little low considering, I guess. This is probably going to be top 3 for most people. Listen, I am all superheroed out. I am not that excited for pretty much anything superhero-wise these days. But there is an obvious intrigue around this new Avengers movie. We don't know anything about it. We don't know what the story is. We haven't seen even a look at Dr. Doom, aka Robert Downey Jr. The intrigue of having all of these different characters who really haven't interacted that much come back to the big screen, including all of the characters that we thought were gone after Endgame. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. being back, and there's rumors that maybe Chris Evans is back. It's interesting. I am very, very intrigued by this film, and at the very least, I think this is going to be an event film that is going to draw us all back to the movie theater, and it's going to be a crazy experience like Spider-Man No Way Home. And at that very point, I am excited for that experience, whether the movie ends up being tremendous or just more Marvel bullshit. And number 7 is Narnia and the Magician's Nephew. Yeah, this is going to be the first Narnia film coming from Greta Gerwig, who is trying to rebring this franchise back to life and spawn it into Netflix's version of The Lord of the Rings. Will that happen? I don't know, but I've heard a lot of wild stuff about this reimagining of the Narnia universe. Apparently, it's going to be filled with rock and roll and craziness, and who knows? But this is Greta Gerwig's follow-up to, of course, Barbie. It's her first film since then. It's her first real chance to do something with a ginormous, epic-sized budget, and it's Narnia. I love those original Narnia films, and I'm really here to see what Greta Gerwig's vision is for this world, for these characters, and yeah, I'm here for it. Meryl Streep playing the lion. Yeah, I'm so here for it. I love it. And number 6 is Werewolf, the brand new film from Robert Eggers, who is just working, man. This guy does not miss every other year. He's got a new film every other year, constantly reinventing himself, constantly coming with new ways to be weird and authentic to his time periods. Werewolf is his brand new film. He did Nosferatu last, a vampire, and now he's gonna do a werewolf story. And it looks like a Robert Eggers werewolf movie. The set photos just look grainy and set in old-style England. Apparently, the language is going to be very old-style, similar to The Witch and similar to Lighthouse. Willem Dafoe is back. You have Aaron Taylor-Johnson coming back. Lily Rose Depp, who looks disgusting somehow in the set pictures. It's just more Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers has proven himself to be one of the more interesting directors working today, and I am definitely going to be seated when his new film comes out. I can't wait to see what he has in store next. And number 5 is Disclosure Day, the brand new Steven Spielberg UFO movie, which we've been hearing about for years. It finally has a trailer. We kind of got an idea of what this movie's about. I mean, not really. The trailer didn't really show much. What we do know, it's a Steven Spielberg original UFO thriller movie, something we haven't gotten from him in literal decades. And this looks like the most classic Steven Spielberg movie we've gotten in decades. This looks awesome. It stars Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor and Coleman Domingo, and it's about I guess, trying to disclose the existence of aliens to the world and how the world would react to that news. That's kind of what I got from the trailer and the title, obviously. And that is an interesting concept to me. As somebody who is a big alien believer and believes there may be some cover-ups about aliens, it's an interesting idea as what would it look like if the government came out one day and just revealed aliens and the existence of all these things to everybody all at once. What would happen to society? And if that's the idea that Spielberg's playing with here, I'm very excited to see how that plays out on screen. But either way, new Steven Spielberg movie, I'm seated. And number 4 is Judy. This is another film we don't know much about. What we do know is that it's the brand new film from Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, who is a 2-time Academy Award winner, the guy that made Birdman and The Revenant. We also know that it's a big, gigantic adventure movie starring Tom Cruise. This is one of my favorite directors, working with arguably the last movie star remaining in Hollywood. It's Tom frickin' Cruise. It is promising to be a gigantic, epic events film that is going to be in play for every single Academy Award that it could possibly be nominated for. I just have a feeling this is going to be something that ends up being epic. It could end up being a dud. This could end up being a film that nobody really talks about. But I just think Judy, on paper, what this film is presenting sounds just huge, and I'm very excited to see what this ends up being. On to my top 3, which I have to admit is probably the best top 3 of any year this decade. It is the 3 films I have been most excited to see in any given year ever. And number 3 is Dune 3, aka Dune Part 3, aka Dune Messiah. I love Dune Part 2. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I love the Dune novels. It's one of my favorite novel series ever. I don't really love Dune Messiah. I think it's probably my least favorite of the core Dune books, which is why I'm really intrigued to see how Denis is going to adapt this book, especially since it's being treated as a trilogy ender. This is now being treated as Return of the King, and I'm very interested to see if maybe he combines aspects of the third Dune book, Children of Dune, which it seems like they might be doing, to give a satisfying conclusion to the Dune trilogy, which obviously for Denis, this will be the finale for him. Whether the studio goes on and adapts the rest of the books, we'll see. But this will be starring Timothée Chalamet yet again with his buzz-cut head. It'll be starring Anya Taylor-Joy, who will be coming in. I have a lot of questions on how this movie is going to play out, how the adaptation is going to work, but yet again, it is more Dune. It is a sequel to Dune Part 2, which I love. It's come so much sooner than I think anybody expected. Dune Part 3, I'm here for it. It's going to be a much more political, much more focused, character-driven story instead of the big battles and epicness of the second one, and I'm very excited. I mean, it's Dune, come on. And number 2 is Resident Evil, and yeah, if you asked me 3 months ago if this would be a top 3 most anticipated movie of 2026 for me, I would say hell no. What? Because the Resident Evil movies historically have been horrible, and every time they've tried to reboot it since those original movies, it's been awful. And we're getting a new Resident Evil movie, but here's the kicker. It's written and directed by Zach Cregger, who just put out Weapons, which I'm not going to spoil my best movies of 2025 list, but it may or may not be my favorite movie of 2025. Weapons is an incredible masterpiece that has shown me that Zach Cregger is one of the best filmmakers working, and the fact that he is attached to do Resident Evil, a reboot of Resident Evil, a universe that I love, that I think is one of the best game franchises ever, and that he has been given free reins to do whatever the hell he wants with the material. The fact that he is a massive Resident Evil game fan, he's never seen the movies, he's only played the games. Oh my god, I cannot wait to see what Zach Cregger does with this world. This probably will end up being one of my favorite movies of the year, which is why I'm ranking it so high and why I'm so excited about it. I am just genuinely intrigued to see what Zach Cregger does with Resident Evil, to see how he follows up what I think is one of the best movies of the decade in Weapons. I am so here for it, and yeah, Resident Evil number 2. Number 1 is obvious. I mean, it's The Odyssey. I mean, come on. It's Christopher Nolan. It's The Odyssey. It can't be anything else. Christopher Nolan, in my opinion, is the best director of all time, the best living director by far, and he is going to be adapting the most epic story ever written, the original story by Homer, The Odyssey, the story of Odysseus trying to get back home to his family. What we've seen of this movie so far looks incredible. It looks so just beautiful and monstrous and epic. It's probably going to be the biggest movie that has ever been made, ever. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. What more do I have to say that everybody else isn't going to be saying? It's going to be the best movie of the year. It's going to sweep the Oscars. Just give it all the awards now. It's The Odyssey. That's it. Those are all my movies. What movies are you guys looking forward to? Let me know down below.